And now,
more you talk now.
Hey guys, it's Steve and Katie is with me. We're at the Warped Tour with Whitney Peyton from Philly, now in Phoenix. Whitney, it is so cool to be able to hang out with you.
Thank you.
I mean, talk to us about your music. How long have you been doing this?
That's weird.
And that's cool. The weirder the better.
It is cool, but it's so hard because people are always like, so what artist are you? Like so many people like to ask me that, and I'm like, that's a really hard question for me because I feel like I'd be if Machine Gun Kelly, Missy Elliott, and Paramore had a love child.
That's a random mix.
It's a very random mix.
Wow.
But that's what it is, because it's like hip hop with a rock edge. You know what I mean? I kind of teeter on both. You know what I mean? So it's kind of weird answering questions like that, or weird trying to explain my music. I'm like, you just gotta watch it because it's hip hop. But if you watch it on mute during the performance, you think I'm doing rock. So I don't know.
Nice.
It's crazy.
No, totally.
You're like, I'll go see this. I want to see what that's about.
At least once anyway.
Right.
You know, so, Katie, have you ever wanted to be a rapper?
No, I can't rap to save my life or sing.
Or sing?
Or sing. I did not get that talent. I wish I did though.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You could probably, if you sat there and start doing some spoken word poetry first. That's how I started. I did spoken word. Yeah. It was weird. It was a hard transition, to be honest, because I was doing spoken word, and that's what, if you know what that is, that's like way more free and like abstract, and you can take all these weird pauses and stuff. Then I was like, oh, I could rap if I could do this. I can rhyme well, and I think of, I could put words together really nicely, and then I was like, okay, I'm gonna rap, and then I go in the studio all like cocky about it, and then I was like, okay, yeah, like put on a beat, and then I was like, whoa, this is way different because you're actually trying to like ride the rhythm and everything, and I was like, this is not like doing it a cappella. Like you have to complement the beat, and the beat has to complement you. It's now not just about the vocal, it's about everything. So I got like thrown on my ass the first time I tried. I was like, okay, maybe I'm not gonna be so cocky next time I go in there, because I had a whole rhyme book of just like poetry I wrote, and I was like, oh, I'll just go put something onto a song, and I'm like, wow, you have to write to the instrumental, huh? You can't just write it and then think you're gonna put it on there. You have to just play it over and over, the instruments, and write as you're listening to them. I tried to do it like a crazy weird way, and it just backfired. So that's how I learned. I started to
back to reality.
Right, back to the drawing board, and then got the hang of it, and I was like, I really like this. I like really having the music involved. It's more emotional that way.
Sure,
and
no, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, I love spoken word. We were just at a thing a while back called We Rise in LA, and there were some spoken word people there that it was amazing what they did.
They have really cool messages and stuff. Every once in a while I try to go back to like some of the poetry slams and things just to get inspired, because I'm like, a lot of them have really strong messages and emotion in it, and it's like, to be honest, it's really stripped down. I was like, okay, now I remember when I was that stripped down and it was just me and a microphone, because that's scary.
Oh,
that's scary. You don't have. You can't just stop and be like, okay, I'm just going to let the guitar play and pretend that I was supposed. Like if you kind of mess up, that's another thing. You got to keep playing. You got to keep going with because it's just you.
Yeah. Okay. You like performing more than you better than being in the studio.
Yeah.
Because of the vibe you're getting from the audience, because of the emotion. What if you could label what you want to communicate to your audience? Is there something in particular through your music?
Yeah, I feel like it's weird because I don't feel like I'm a wholesome role model. Like I curse and I have different things that come off maybe harsh and in your face in my songs.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I do represent a positive message. It's like about being unapologetic about who you are and stuff like that. So it's
being real.
Right. So it's like, sometimes it's weird because I'll see kids at like some of my headlining shows at different places, and I'm like, why, I'm wondering why people bought like younger kids, like 12 or whatever.
Sure.
And when I feel like my demographic's usually more college-age kids.
Okay.
So when I see like younger kids, I'm like, oh, you brought your daughter, son. They're like, yeah, I know, like you curse, and it's not always like, I don't want them to necessarily repeat everything that you say, but I do want them to see that there are women trying to like follow their dreams and that are like badass and confident and not all putting out, negative connotations in their music and stuff. So they're like, so even though you say like, edgy things here and there, overall what you're saying, your overall message is really, really good. And I think compared to maybe other artists out there, like if I'm going to have them like be looking up to any like female acts that are going to be rappers, if they're into rap music, I'd rather be you. And I'm like, wow, that is kind of a heavy responsibility that I feel.
That is.
But I get it. I think that's really, really cool, because at first I'm like, whoa, why would you? Now I feel bad. I'm like, now I got to edit my songs. I feel like when I'm doing it, but But I think it's cool because they're going to hear it anyway. They see the internet, they have the internet, they got all this stuff. So they're going to hear all these things. I'd rather be you saying them in a way where it's like, this is the message. Because I'll talk about like ODing on drugs or whatever, but then I have a song called Better, and there's like a verse about prostitution, and there's like ODing on drugs and stuff, but I'm saying, okay, did those choices really make your life better, kind of thing? So it's
nice.
like, it's harsh in your face, and the music videos kind of like, there's violence in it and stuff, but it's like, I remember my dad called me and he was like, they should show this at high schools and stuff. And I was like, really? There's like violence and stuff? He's like, yeah, but it's not sugar-coated, and they should see it, and they should see like
consequences of your choices.
That's what it was. So it was showing like a girl ODing on the heroin and stuff. And so they'd be like, oh, this is graphic. This is too graphic. But then it's like, so is that really better? You took the heroin. Did it really make your life better? Like, because the girls ODing and stuff. So it's like, if you could go back, would you make this choice, kind of thing? So I have heavy songs that are like
that's huge.
Deep like that, but they come off. They could kind of, I could see if parents watching and be like, if they're really wholesome, like, no, you can't watch that. But I think you should almost be more real about it and be like, yeah, this is what that does. Like,
well, exactly. Yeah. And why not? Watch it with your son or daughter and unpack it.
Yeah.
Say, come on,
or suicide or anything like that. Instead of be like, oh, we're not going to talk about it. It's like, no, you should.
Yeah.
You should.
I mean, because that's a misnomer. People say, well, you can't talk about suicide to kids because that's going to give them an idea.
Scare them
they're already
or do this
thinking.
or that.
They're already thinking.
They see stuff, hear and see more than some of the parents probably realize that they see and hear. So if you could at least show them someone that does it in a certain way, it's like, oh, okay, yeah. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Because
that's very cool.
You can't shelter
that you're doing something positive out of it, even though it's in your face. You're doing something positive. And kids pick that up. They pick up the realness.
Yeah, I mean,
they pick up the authenticity.
Like, I can see, because, like, literally in the video I'm talking about, you see the girl, like, ODing, and you kind of, like, we have this girl who's a really good actress kind of seizing out and stuff like that, and it's like, whoa, that's too much kind of thing, but it's like, I wanted to show what, like, this really can lead to and everything, and it's not until, like, now I've had friends OD, I've had friends commit suicide and stuff like that, so trying to, prevent it more so, not trying to glorify it or do anything like that. It's definitely more on the positive light, rather than, it's not shock factor. I'm not trying to get that shock factor or glorify it. I'm like, yo, this
sounds like you're just trying to be real.
Yeah, exactly. It's not like
really
trying
better,
to, Yeah, because I always am worried. I'm like, hey, like, this isn't going to come across like I'm just trying to shock people, because this is really, I mean this, right? So I don't want to come across like, oh, she just did it for views to get like people to watch it because it's crazy. I'm like, no, I want this to come off. I don't want it to look cheesy. I don't look super real. You know what I mean? So So I always make sure I have people around me, and I'm like, does this look good? Did this look right? Did this look, to try to see that we're putting it out the right way, too, and not in a way where I look like I'm mocking anything, because it's hard, but there's always probably going to be someone that says something. But you try to do it in a way that's artistic, and I try to do it in a way where I'm like, hey, are people going to watch it and be like, whoa, I have like goosebumps from that, like, I don't want to watch that again, because that was like, it hit me, like,
Well,
like,
and to me, for your dad to call and say, hey, I mean,
he
that's
never
gotta be
does.
huge.
Yeah, my dad's really probably my biggest critic. You know what I'm saying? My parents are not yes men at all. They'll be the first one to be like, that song, I don't know about that song. Kind of like if it's not good.
Sure.
So they'll be the first ones to tell me. So my dad, for him to have watched one of the music videos and be like, hey, and he's like from the Beatles and Beach Boys era and stuff like that. He does like the whole rap thing. I'm like, Dad, I'm opening for DMX. He's like, is that a bike? I don't know. I'm like, no, that's BMX. I'm opening for DMX. And so he doesn't know what's going on. Like I was like, you watch this on YouTube? You actually you know how to pull up YouTube? That's crazy. So when he told me to watch it, and he's like, it should be shown in all the schools, I was like, wow, that's pretty powerful for him to say, because he's not in the internet age and up on everything.
That's all right. He supports you, but even though he's a critic, he supports you. Okay, you brought up some issues that are heavy in our culture today.
Yeah.
Music is a powerful tool. What concerns you? I mean, when you look at our world today, you look at our culture, what concerns you? What concerns Whitney Peyton?
I mean, it's tough.
That's a loaded question. Yeah. It's a big question, but maybe just a couple of things, especially in regards to this generation.
Well, I think personally, because I was telling you about my anxiety. Okay, so I've gone to doctors, and they're just like, Xanax prescription, here you go, like right off the bat. And then right now, it's like a big thing in rap to talk about Xanax. Like, that's huge right now. Xanax is like the drug. Like, they're all talking about it in their songs, but it's very much in a way where it's like, yeah, let's do this, like get everybody rallied up to do Xanax, like downers and stuff, you know what I mean? So I think downers right now is big in the hip hop community, lean and like Xanax and anything that's just like slow motion. And I think the vibes of how the music is following that, because we are getting some really vibey music, but at the same time I'm like, let's not get too crazy here, because I mean, I've been prescribed it before, you know, it's helped with anxiety, but I could not even see myself using it recreationally, because literally, like, anytime that I have had it, I'm like, I start forgetting things. Like, I'm like, what was I doing? And I'm already bad at that. I already walk into rooms and I'm like, why did I come in here? But now it's like that times 10, you know what I mean? Like, so that's how I feel. So yeah, it does, like, it helps anxiety, but a lot of these guys aren't using it for that, obviously, and then they're just like doing way too much, like bars of Xanax and stuff. And I'm like, yo, just stop telling these kids to do Xanny bars. So I mean, that's something that really concerns me right now, is definitely pharmaceuticals, and how easily it is to get prescribed anything, and how easily it is to get your hands on anything. And everyone can have a pill press. Like, you don't even have to get it from a doctor. Like, people could press pills themselves, really. So if you get it from someone, you don't even know if it's originally from any kind of doctor. Like, it literally could be pressed with and laced with other things. Like, they feel like because it's a pill that it can't be laced, but that's totally untrue. And so I think that's a big concern right now, is pharmaceuticals, because pills are very easy, I feel like, to OD on, because you take it and it takes a while to kick in. So I feel like
you keep taking.
Right, they push
working,
it, and then they mix all these up. They take it and they're drinking and they're doing it. I'm like, whoa, we need to chill out with glorifying the drugs. You know what I'm saying?
No, absolutely. Okay, somebody listening right now, they're struggling with anxiety. Okay, and they're not taking pills. Does music play a part in helping you deal with anxiety from your perspective?
Yeah, because, well, like I said, when I'm on stage or whatever, then I can't, because usually anxiety is built up from things that happened in your past or worrying about your future. You're like anxious, you're overthinking things you've done before. And then you're overthinking, well, what if this happens in the future? What if this happens? And half the things don't even happen. You just worry about it. So like when you're doing the music, you are in the present time. Like, that's the only time that I'm in the present time, is when I'm doing music, because I can't think about anything else but doing that at the time. So it's like, usually I'm thinking about a million things. You're scatterbrained, you're like all over the place. So I feel like, yeah, music does play a big part, and whether you're playing it or you're listening to it and you get caught up in a song or caught up in something, it helps people live in the moment. So that's, you know, what I was saying earlier. I think it does help.
Yeah. Good word. No, because it is. We're worried way too much about what we've done in the past. It's the past is the past. You can't change the past. You know, when I talk about choices, when I'm doing an assembly, it's like, hey, how you choose to live today will determine how you live tomorrow.
Right, and half the things we worry about in the past, like, people don't even remember. We're like, oh, what if I said this and they were offended, blah, blah, blah. Like, they probably don't even remember what you said.
You put it on yourself, but it's like no big deal to anyone else.
Yeah.
Right, like, exactly. But it's hard, and you tell yourself that, but it's hard to, like, live by that, you know what I mean? Because you overthink everything. But, yeah, it's crazy. Music is a big deal.
It is, truly. Role model, okay. You kind of, like, oh, you know, I want to be careful about.
Yeah.
But what would you say to somebody listening, if you could sit down and have a conversation with one of our listeners right now and talk about life? Is there one thing that kind of comes to the top about, here's something you need to grab a hold of for life? This is a key thing for your life. It is for my life. I want you to grab it for your life.
Yeah, because I think, too, we compare ourselves to so many other people all the time. Because right now, especially with social media, like Instagram, everyone looks like they have, like, perfect lives, and every day is awesome and interesting, and I have all this cool stuff, and blah, blah, blah.
Photoshop here, you know.
Right, and being in the industry now, like, I see behind the scenes, and I meet a lot of these different people, and you feel like when I was more on the inside or outside looking in, I felt like, oh, these people are so laid back and they're just like totally confident with who they are, and obviously, you know, they have everything in the world. But then sometimes I'll see people backstage, like an artist, and they're just pacing around, they're so nervous, and they're like, you know, about to go on stage. I'm like, oh, they're just like me. Like, I thought they were so calm and cool and collected and had everything together, and they didn't care what anybody thought and whatever. But a lot of times they are just like you behind the scenes. You show your highlights on Instagram. You don't show that's your highlight reel. Social media is your highlight reel.
Nice.
And mine too, because you don't say like, oh, got turned down from another festival today. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're not, the fans want to hear your, like, the cool stuff happening. Yeah, they don't want to hear, oh yeah, another magazine snubbed me or pretended I didn't exist or like gave me a bad review or you know what I mean? Like they don't. It's you always want to advertise like, oh yeah, we've got on Warped Tour on the last Warped Tour, right? And then a lot of times they want to hear that too because they don't want to think you're a downer. They want to follow someone who's like, yeah, we're doing this, and so. But a lot of other people, you know, I just want, especially these kids, to know because they're probably comparing their life, like my life sucks compared to them. Like I wish I was them, and you know, getting really upset. And it's like, no, they probably are very similar.
That ain't reality.
Yeah,
if you already knew what it was like backstage,
right? And it's very stressful.
The bad breath that they have, and you know, all of that's, all of that other stuff. I'm not going to go down that path.
They have very similar problems. Is what I'm saying. After meeting so many people, like they have very similar problems. They're worried about the same stuff that everyone else is worried about. They're worried about, did I look okay? Was everything good? Did it sound okay? You know, and I'm like talking like massive celebrities, and I'm like, you're worried if you sounded or looked or okay? You're just like a platinum artist, and they're like, yeah, well, it was a good, you know. So they're just as nervous or whatever, you know. So yeah, I would just say don't compare your life to other people's life because everyone has different things happening to them. It's like apples to oranges every single time. So,
live your life.
Right, exactly. Don't try to live it by comparing. Yeah, because I've done that so many times. As an artist, it's hard too. You're like, how come they got that and they got this and they got on this tour and I can't get that, you know. But you don't know their story because then I'll have that same artist who I was jealous of come to me and be like, hey, how did you do this? Like, so they're saying the same thing. It's just in different areas, you know
totally
what I mean? Yeah, so it's like, oh, okay, I thought I was jealous of you and you were jealous of me. That's cool.
We're jealous of jealous.
Yeah, we're just for no reason.
For no reason
right,
whatsoever.
Exactly.
Hey, it's been great to have you on U-Talk. We're going to have to just keep in touch with you, find out more stuff you're doing. You're a little closer now in Phoenix, but technology can connect us anytime.
Right.
How
the
do
worst
people...
and best thing. Technology is the worst and best.
How do our listeners connect with you? Social media, website?
I'm all over their favorite social media, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat. It's Whitney Peyton, so Whitney, and then it's Peyton.
Well, thank you for taking time. It's great to meet you. Look forward to following you some more, and wish you all the best.
Thanks so much.
Thanks.
U-Talk Radio.